Hey everybody, we're going to make adjustments to the line art and we're going to create the two value structure to get ready for the painting. We're going to set in some basic colors. We're going to try to make this sort of an accelerated pace when it comes to finishing this piece, using a lot of anime shortcuts. But first thing I'm going to do is I want to make adjustments to the line art here. There's a couple of things that I see might be problematic, but just minor things. So here I feel like there should be a little bit more hair on this side, because I'm seeing now that if I remove this block of color, it might look a little bit empty, that like what's going on with that side of the head. I was thinking about thinning out the line art to go for the the AFK Journey type of style, but I realized this is a chibi piece and I feel like the bold line art is just gonna look fine. Now this piece of the metallic wing is pointy. I'm just gonna fix that up a little bit, adjust that, but still keeping it loose and not using the actual line tool. So I'm just gonna put a line right here, a line right there, something like that. And now I'm gonna get in there and just fix any pieces of the base color that are just not quite right. So I'm gonna eyedrop this and get in there, and you know what? Why is it stacking? That's one of the problems I have with my brush, is that it stacks until it's black. So it's actually not a good coloring tool. So what is my brush? Is it Opus Color V1? Yeah, it's Opus Color. So this is the right brush here. Opus Inker stacks, but Opus Color, my other brush, it doesn't stack. It just keeps the same color. It's kind of weird when you see brushes that kind of stack. I don't know what the term is. Is it multiplying value? I don't really know. There's so many terms in digital art that I just don't have the words to describe things, even though I've seen it. But whatever. Whoa. Oh yeah, it doesn't read other layers. I don't know how to get color drop to read other layers. I know you can do it in Krita, but in Procreate I'm not sure how to get it to do that. So I'm going to erase this out. Make sure I'm going to use the same color. I always use the same color brush, or the same brush that I do for both color and whatever it is I'm doing. So inking, I'll use the same brush for erasing the ink. And then color, I'll use the same brush for erasing the color. So it just makes things simpler for me. Okay. You know why actually I conditioned to myself to do that is in Krita, if you press the eraser button, it will just turn the same brush. It'll toggle your same brush into an eraser. So that's kind of why I do that. Now here, I could erase this out, but actually it wouldn't look right. What I should do actually is just kind of erase the thickness of the line art there. In fact, I might just turn it like that, because like, where does the ponytail begin really? I wonder if I were to do this, kind of make it a little bigger, because I feel like it should have been a little bit bigger coming from the back of the head there. There, I think that's fine. And I'm gonna figure out if I should erase that little piece out, because it seems like I shouldn't, but I'll try it out. So right here behind the neck, do I erase this out? Yeah, I think that's fine. Ooh, I'm remembering that every video I want to refine my process. So one of the things about myself is that I talk fast, and I want to slow down. I want to slow things down. I remember I was, talking about Bob Ross and Fred Rogers, that they are relaxing presence. And do I want this to be a relaxing presence for you? Yeah, sure. I want you to feel, free to be here, and free to learn, and free to make good art. Make your best art. Okay. So there's that. We're not going to see the other ear from this angle. Are we missing anything? No, I think that's good. Might clean up that line art on the wing just a tiny bit, just to make it look smoother. Just right there. Whoops, wrong layer. Just right there. All right. Little pieces on the inside right there to erase. Messing around between layers is tedious. Just a little piece right there. Take out. Okay, does everything else look good? Yes. So what we're gonna do now, what I want to do is like lower the opacity of the line art a little bit, and I might even color the line art maybe to something like this where it's like a slightly darker gray purple. But for now, I'll just lower the opacity, and what I'm going to do with the base color layer is put in light. So I'm actually using a clipping mask for this, just so it's easier, I don't destroy the layer below. I'm going to take this color, I'm going to just add a hard light to it, you know, staying in the same hue, and we're just going to sketch here. Now, I want to keep this simple, just 2 values. If there's going to be any fading or smudging, I'll just keep it to a bare minimum. And I'm going from light to dark, from dark to light, because I've always felt it has a better result. I think it does save time to just start with light and then do shadows. You know what? We are in the interest of saving time, actually. Since we're in the interest of saving time, we're going to do that method instead. You know, you have a choice here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color, I'm just going to change it so that it's a little bit brighter, and we're going to add shadows instead. So we're going to keep this in the sort of the purplish realm, and then we're going to make this one a shadow layer instead of a light layer. Okay, so that will save time. And I don't want it to be too dark. Yeah, I think this is good. And I'm going to be trying to cleverly use my eraser and smudge tool to kind of like make these things look good. Now with the smudge tool, it's on Studio Pen, so I want the smudge tool also to be on Opus Color. And I think I will lower the opacity of the smudge tool. Let's see what that even does. Yeah, it does affect the strength of the smudge. Lower the size a bit. Yeah. I'm not really a connoisseur of the smudge tool, so just gonna try to figure it out as I go, I suppose. And what we're doing is I'm going into obvious shadows first. We're gonna do my core shadows and cast shadows. And I'm just gonna use a hard outline, like a hard edge for now, and maybe change it later by smudging. Just creating shadows. Light source being at the top left, upper left. You know, little shadows in the hair, just things like this, and we'll just keep going this way. Normally when you do the 2-value scale really well, it already looks like it looks good. So I'm just gonna keep the lighting in mind and try to discover where the shadows might be. This kind of thing is hard to plan. I kind of just explore the form and figure out where shadows are. This is like an emergent piece of the drawing. Like, you know, I can pre-visualize the drawing as much as I want, but I'm not so good that I can pre-visualize the paint quite yet. Maybe one day. Maybe one day, if I keep grinding this out, I'll be able to, like, as I'm drawing, see where the shades are supposed to be. You know, understand my light source. But as of right now, I'm not that skilled or experienced. But we're gonna keep going here with our 2-value scale. And the highlights we'll keep last. And again, as I've said before, if you're using a white background, I like to use the white background as a light source, so that the character just doesn't look like they're just floating. It really sets the character into a white background pretty easily. Is there a shadow down there? Yeah, there is. There is. I'm just using harder pressure to make sure I get the hard edges, because I'm not going to worry too much about soft edges yet. My brush is not so good at it. With my old Creator brush, I was really able to like make soft edges and hard edges with the same brush. So I haven't found something that good yet in Procreate. But we're gonna keep, you know, messing with my brush over time. I've only made like a very slight change to my inking brush. Like I've tried to search Procreate for brushes that like really fit what I want, but I got so accustomed to the brushes I was using in Krita. Like they were so good, even though they were default brushes, that I want those exact brushes. I just got used to thinking that way. Not that I'm not adaptable, or maybe it is a sign that I'm not adaptable. I don't know. I do think we can smudge here to create a soft edge. Just a little bit. Okay. Continuing to find coarse shadows and cast shadows. Looks like they're probably cast shadow right here. A little bit of overlap shadow right here. Ambient occlusion. And then cast shadow definitely under here. Under here as well. Under here. Probably under here, under this little belt. Yeah. It's starting to come together already, right? Like once you start adding in this 2 value scale. Thinking about cast shadows mostly first. Core shadows I can kind of go back in there and figure out. Well, I guess I'm kind of doing both. I did have sort of a topic in mind. I know it's late into the video, but I was talking about Goggins in the last video. And I was talking a little bit about the virtual mortification. Now, to kind of veer off, you know, another person's life, because, you know, I'm not here for idol worship. I'm not here to worship anyone else and idolize them. But just to take, you know, a good example and honor, you know, the man for his work and effort. You know, I do have a lot of respect for Goggins, especially after reading that book. But now, how can the purpose he wrote his stories to help me, to help the reader. So how can I take, you know, he at the end of every chapter he lists a set of challenges. So I did write down all the 10 challenges. I think at the 11th chapter he didn't necessarily write a challenge, but the 11th chapter was titled "What If?" and that's like a question that we can use to you know, imagine success, because our brains are kind of wired to imagine failure, to imagine like or to like ruminate and attach ourselves to worst case scenarios or painful experiences so that we can prevent them. But it's for me personally, it's hard to imagine you know, best case scenarios, or what does it look like if I succeed. For some reason I'm not good at that, and I think that applies to a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people who are not good at that. But if you are a person that's able to like imagine a best case scenario, imagine what does it look like to succeed, what does a good life look like, I would love to hear from you and you know, pick your brain on like, how are you able to do that? Because I don't think I'm a negative person in the sense that I think bad things are always going to happen. I try to be realistic about it, but I also try to be hopeful. I don't want to be naive, but I do think it's important to be hopeful, to know, you know, intuitively or using faith that things can be better than they are now. Better than they are now is how I phrase it, because it's like, better is like, I don't know how to envision that. Or, you know, or maybe I'm just too, you know, kind of weakling at doing that. Maybe we are able to like say, hey, this is the result that I want, I'm gonna get it. You know, and I don't know, like, there's a balance between like the powerlessness we have over the, you know, the universe and how it plays out, and like what power we do have to achieve something that we want to achieve, to sort of transform the world into a way that we think is good. So I don't know. I've just haven't been. I've historically always been terrible at thinking about what would happen if I do well, you know. But that's the question that David wants me to explore, and I'm gonna try. You know, what does it look like if I do well? Because when I look at my life and see a series of failures, like even if it's true that I failed so much, I can still ask that question. We can all still ask that question. Like, what if? Who can I be? You know, what kind of person am I really? Have I fully explored that? Obviously, I think no. But yeah, what does that look like for me? And it's just an exciting idea to want to find out. Just finding any more missing areas where there might not be shadow. But I think for me, that's going to come with building that virtue of mortification. The willingness to suffer for whatever it is my goal is. You know, I could talk about something grand like the virtue of all the perfect virtue and reunion of all the Christendom, all the Christian world, right? Sure, yeah, that's what we're kind of all as Christians kind of called to do. But for me, it's like, okay, let's start with my family first. Let's start there. So, okay, a little bit of shadow here in the eye. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I haven't done this in a long time, but we're going to do flat base colors and then like use the, can I group these two together? Even though, yeah, it remains a clipping mask. Okay, so we're going to make a new layer in here, and this is also going to be a clipping mask. And we're just going to start throwing in base colors. And I think the easiest way to do this for freelance work is I'm going to eyedrop. I'm just going to eyedrop those colors. So I'm going to remove this. I'm just going to do this. Yeah, I'm just going to take what's there. This is the easiest way to do it. I'm just going to, you know, brush them in. I'm going to take her hair color. Brush that in. Let's use a big brush here. I'm using a clipping mask, so I think it's fine if I just kind of brush all over the place. I'm going to create a border. Maybe I can do a color drop. And I'm not too particular for shorter pieces like this. I think if I was getting paid, you know, a couple $100, like maybe then I would really take time to, you know, put every single color, different color in a different layer and just like render them separately. But it really, the time and effort that I'm allowed to put into these really depends on how much I'm getting paid. That's just how it is. You know, this is not portfolio work necessarily. This is commission work. So I have to execute in a timely fashion while, you know, still doing my best work. My best, when I say my best work, I say my best possible work given constraints and working within those constraints. If it's like portfolio work or personal work or passion work, then yeah, I'll just reduce all those limiters and just go hard on every single aspect of the art piece. But, you know, that's like, it's almost like gratification at that point. It's like, it's almost like it feels indulgent. Like, okay, if I got paid several $1,000s for like one thing, I would still try to set the time constraints, but I feel like I would have a lot of freedom with the time to really create my best work. But for commission work like this, it is limited by the pay, and it's not like I'm not being paid that well. Like it's enough to warrant, you know, these couple hours that I've worked on this piece. I think it's been 3 hours now. But yeah, just gonna do base colors and color drops until everything gets finished. We have skin color here. Yeah, here's what I'll do. I'll create a border and then color drop. It's the easiest way. Yep. Same thing here. Let's create a little border. Actually, I could just brush that in. Where else does she show some skin? Oh, she has like another set of gloves. I actually didn't put that in the line art. Let's do that in the line art real quick. So I'm going to go back to the line art here, get my Opus inking color, and then we will add this little glove, long glove, right here. Maybe add a little fold in there. No, it's fine. Whoa, wrong layer. Uh-oh. Okay, wrong layer. We were supposed to be in layer 3. Let's do this again. So it's supposed to be right here. Yeah, I had a suspicion when I tried to erase something, it didn't erase. We will try it. We'll add a little bit of a fold right there. And then that line right there to indicate that's where the upper part, the upper glove is. Arm length glove. Trying to follow the proper contour. And when doing contour lines like this, I really want to think about like the anatomy of the arm. Yeah. Close. Hold on, one more time. Bring it a bit higher. Yeah. Here, I think that's better. Okay, go back to the color layer. Some arm color and skin color in there. Skin color in here. Gray color for the glove here. Brush that in. So I'm actually curious to see. I'm going to turn this shadow layer into a multiply layer. Multiply. Yeah, see, that looks good already. That looks pretty good. You know, it's kind of purplish, and we're going to change the skin color, you know, the skin color shadows to red, you know, for warmer shadows on the skin. But yeah, that looks good already. I'm going to try to finish this out. Don't want to rush it. Let's find the eyes. So I usually do this just in the color layer, just find the borders of the eyes. So when I think of the lower eyelid here, where is it? And where is the inside, like, border of the eye? It always looks a little bit awkward. I'm not really good at navigating that, but I think that looks okay right there. And then we're going to get in here. She has really creepy looking eyes, to be honest. We're going to get in here and grab this pink. Yeah, that pink color looks good. And then we'll try to match the shading on it. And yeah, looking good. That eye color added a lot to it. Okay, we're going to start finding in some of those dark purples. As you can see, guys, this process of just putting in base colors, it takes like no thought for me. That's why for things like this, which take very little thought investment, I care about speed and efficiency. So let's actually try to focus on that a little bit. So here I'm just going to quickly brush in, you know, with a single stroke. There we go, like that. And then color drop. I want to make sure the threshold is good. Yeah. Good threshold so that it really fills in. Okay, so I'm going to take these black colors now. I'm just going to use a black, very dark, like gunmetal black, and just color in all the wings before I get into like the details of those wings. I do think the black adds a nice contrast in the character design. That's a pretty nice part of it. You know, there's so many like fantasy anime girl character designs out there. So many. That it's, you know, there's like I guess a standard that you sort of absorb when looking at all these designs. So it's hard for me to say what's a good design. but I think, you know, you can have good character design elements, but ultimately, what is a good character but a, you know, a great story? Like, okay, she's obviously a cuter character than Frodo Baggins. You know, I guess one might be able to consider Frodo Baggins cute, but Frodo Baggins is a great character because he has a great story. So, as an artist, you know, on the surface, when we make these characters, you know, especially for like anime characters like this, where maybe their story doesn't matter so much, but when creating characters and not thinking about story, you kind of lose something that's valuable about why fantasy exists in the first place. Like, okay, we have anime, we have games, and we absorb, you know, we experience those stories, and we might be fooled into thinking, oh, you know, because of these cool, you know, images and character designs, that's why this was so memorable. It's a part of it, but it's the whole story experience that makes that experience great. So something like, let's say, Final Fantasy VII, which has a good story. Cloud Strife design's very memorable. Yes, Tetsuya Nomura, classic, amazing job, right? But Cloud Strife would not have been memorable if not for his very interesting story. A lot of like psychological thriller almost. Cloud Strife story. So that makes it memorable. And, you know, people don't always remember that about Cloud Strife because, again, he does have a great iconic design. But his story, he would not have succeeded off of that design alone. It was the gameplay, and it was the music, and it was the story that makes that sets Cloud as like I suppose, an immortal game character. Now, thinking about that, you know, in my life of transitioning away from video games and entertainment, you know, I still create these things as an artist, but I don't consume them really anymore. And that could be for better, for worse. Like, obviously, I think as artists, we should absorb things. But I think for me, I'm not that interested anymore in absorbing it from other artists, from other people's stories. I think real life is so much better of an inspiration. So, like, they say truth is stranger than fiction, and it is. It's so much more interesting. Like, I feel like David Goggins' story is so much more interesting than like Rock Lee's story. Like, Rock Lee, okay, he's a great character. He had some great moments in the anime, but David Goggins, I mean, he's a real person, and some of the stuff he went through is like a lot more extreme than what Rock Lee did in Naruto. Like, it's just. It is, like, if you think about it, it's on another level. Like, okay, you can say, okay, Rock Lee, I'm gonna do 500 push-ups and walk around my hands around the Konoha village or something like that. Okay, great. It sounds exaggerated because normal people can't do it. But when you hear about David Goggins being a real person and then doing the insane numbers that normal people shouldn't be able to do, like 4,000 pull-ups, breaking the Guinness record, doing a 100-mile run without training, running on broken legs. It's like some of the stuff that he's done is like, it just sounds not real, but it is real, and that's what makes it interesting. Oops, I should keep this. I'm not sure why I was in the base layer there, but I'm gonna clear those up. Let's go back here. I'm almost done with this video. I'm going to just clean up a couple of those things. But yeah, the virtue of mortification. It's like, now I'm asking myself the question, where can I practice mortification in my own life? Where are places that I need to be willing to suffer pain in order to achieve whatever goal it is that I want to achieve? And then, like, you know, seeing all this, you know, even in a secular space, like a Navy SEAL athlete's autobiography, I find signs of, like, what is, you know, perfect Christianity. Because one might be able to say that Jesus had all the virtues at the maximum level. So mortification, the willingness to suffer pain to reach the goal, yeah, obviously, that's what the cross is. That's why the cross is the symbol of love and not a heart, you know. You know, you can say the heart is a symbol of love because it's like the heart beats faster. You know, the heart is touchy feely, and the heart. It's a great symbol, but the symbol of love for Christians is much stronger in the cross, because that is the willingness to suffer for the one you love. And with that, I think that'll be. Oh, let's go ahead and make this shirt white. We're almost at the end of the video here. Let me see if I can just color drop that. Nope, it reaches everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and brush it in. And here we're gonna take a look at the result of this video. Here are the base colors. It's pretty much all in there, except for some of the accents on the wings and the boots and stuff. It's almost all there. Oh, you know what? Let's grab this one. Almost all there. So that's there. I think these purples, I don't know. We'll mess around with them as we paint. And bringing back the shadow layer, there we go. That is the multiply layer right there. We're gonna change the colors around in the shadows, and then we're gonna just like really paint this off and finish it off. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening. God bless. Bye-bye.